I did skip yesterday, but I am also busier these days, and I don't have as many notes either. So, Anyways, let's continue. Let me see. Where did I left off on passion. Okay. Weeds of the mind and of society. I'm not criticizing society. I'm saying the criticisms you may have about society could be true, but aren't really helpful. So maybe something that you consider a weed in society becomes a weed in your mind because it's this idea that you have in your mind that just makes you unhappy. And if you look at it, if you pick something that you feel is wrong with society, but if you have none, then great. But I'm going to try to make one up here in terms of what I think some people may feel is a problem with society. Let's say that people don't agree with you, okay? Maybe you wish that, you think that your opinions should be more widely accepted, or that, it's not as unanimous as you would like it to be. Well, here's the thing. Maybe it's just that you don't want the discomfort of having to actually question your opinions to arrive at a more concrete answer. Maybe you just don't like the idea of actually challenging your opinions. And I'm not even talking about by other people. You don't even want to do that with yourself, right? So it's like, if you hate it when other people do it, it's just something you avoid as well, usually speaking. So maybe the idea that you hate the disagreement out there is because you're avoiding disagreement in here. That's just an example. Weeds grow very easily. They take nutrients from other plants where the nutrients would be better served. They repopulate very easily and aggressively. That's why you have to trim your weeds. What weeds do you have that take up your attention? Take them away from the things that you want to decorate your lawn with, to keep your lawn green and clean. If you take care of the lawn, then you will have peace of mind when you look at it. Seeing all of the weeds makes you very uncomfortable. Okay. Lament having to choose, but complain when no choices are offered. So the example in this was, the author of the book was commenting on the students who were choosing courses, which is when they have a bunch of options, they are often unsure what to choose or fighting for a spot because other people chose the ones they wanted already before they did, and the class is filled. But then when the choices are offered and mandatory, they start complaining about not being able to take the classes they want. And in neither case do they appreciate having what they wanted when they didn't have that case. It's easy to focus on the disadvantages of what you have and contrast it against the advantages of what you don't have. But we never contrast the advantages of what we have with the disadvantages of what we don't have. Because if we don't do that, then it is impossible to be happy with what we have because we always have cons. Everything has pros and cons. So if we focus on the negatives of what we have versus the positives of what we don't, then we never compare. We're always looking at things. I mean, the simplest way to say it is grass is always greener on the other side. And I'm not talking about like I have let's say I have this is a stupid example, but I'm gonna use guns as an example because think of it in video games. You're choosing a weapon. You can have a gun that is faster reload and lower firepower versus a gun that's completely different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, for example, you say you look at a gun that has high firepower and low reload, and you go, look at that gun. It has way more firepower than mine. I'm just so dissatisfied. I wish I had more firepower. Without going, okay, but if I had that gun, I would have low reload, right? Like, that's obviously ridiculous. If you're choosing a weapon in a video game, you don't look at it that way. But in life, a lot of the time, we look at things we have that way. Maybe my house is too small. My car is too damaged, or etc., etc. I don't make my salary is too low. My boss is too annoying. My classmate won't shut up. My teacher teaches like shit, and it's my firepower is too low. Okay. This is a weird one. This one is coddled dogs struggle for dominance. And this is actually really weird because I can't actually capture the note in the book very well in a single note. But basically, even for the dogs that have all of their needs met and are taken care of, when they meet other dogs, they still will they aggressively try to establish a dominance hierarchy. And that's because hierarchies are that intrinsic. I don't remember exactly which book it was or what the context was, but it was. I just thought it was interesting that they, when you have the dichotomy of the fact that even though they live their life without hierarchy really mattering, because they're a pet, they're the only dog that in the family, they get whatever they need, but even when they go out and they meet other dogs, they instinctively start barking very aggressively. If you live your life thinking you'll be happy when this goal that is maybe 5 to 15 years to achieve, that you assume will be achieved in 5 to 10, 15 years, whatever that expected time frame is, whatever that goal is. If you think that you'll be happy when this goal is achieved, would you press a button that teleports you to the future that says, skip these years where I am unhappy and don't have this thing, to a point where I move forward that many years. I go through all of this time as if it was a dream. So it's like, it feels like no time has passed. You still go through the time, but it's like you went to sleep, woke up, and now it's 3 years in the future, or whatever, 5 years in the future. Would you press the button? The answer is, like, if I told you would have that goal, assuming that it is a goal you would achieve with your current trajectory in that amount of time, right? So it's like, you could press a button and go forward in the future. I'm not saying like, so it would, in that time, it would still be you. It would be who you are doing what you would do, influenced by the things in the world that you would be influenced by. So basically, everything's the same. I'm not changing the outcome. I'm just saying you don't have to suffer these years of experience before you reach that goal. And the thing is, we would say no. We would not press that button. Very few people would press that button. So why are we so busy complaining about not having it yet? when we wouldn't skip the time in between. Because objectively, if it means that we would only be happy when we have it, then that means that we would be miserable without it. But why would we not skip that time in between? And if we wouldn't skip the time in between, why do we believe that we're miserable and that our life is trash? Okay. Show your employees the way their work helps their customers or their teammates or their subordinates, whatever. Because that will give them a sense of meaning, right? It's like if you just tell them to hit the numbers, or if you tell them to help their clients, right? It's like if you show them if you focus their attention of why they're doing it on the benefit it brings to the people they help, then it makes it much easier for them to, it doesn't abstract away the value from the work or the numbers or whatever it is they work with. And that's beneficial because at the end of the day, we want to feel like we're bringing value to other people. And it doesn't you don't have to see people who get overjoyed with it, as long as they can see their work being relevant down the line. It helps keep them going. And so, of course, you can do that with yourself too. Put yourself in an environment where you can feel the beneficial effect of what you do on the people you're doing it for. And, well, as Tom puts it, children are like a fulfillment premium package you buy from life, right? It's like it's a pre-packaged fulfillment in a box. So if you have children and you are working for your children, but you never come home and you never, interact with them, then it's not you're gonna burn out because you don't feel the effect of what you're working for, and also they don't feel it as well either because they want time with you. So maybe it's better for you to work less, even if that means you make a bit less money, if that means you can actually spend time with your children. Well, that's of course obviously if you're a single parent, minimum wage or something like that, that's obviously going to be basically impossible mathematically, financially, but ideally, in an ideal world, right? Maybe 2-parent household. Maybe they both work, but they only work like 40 hours a week, both of them. That's more than enough, usually, unless you live in a shitty world with, shitty minimum wage, and both of them are minimum wage. But all of that aside, just as an example, obviously I always go into this. I say something, I'm like, wait a minute, but there's caveats here. This is technically not true if, and then I end up going way too long on things that don't really matter. Okay. So this one is a repeat of what I said before with the waiter principle, but this is a different phrasing from a different book in a different place, but same idea. You can tell someone's character based on how they treat the people who do nothing for them. Okay, that's gonna be it for me. Let me just mark down how far I got.